Okay, so when I'm building the nose, I'm going to take you back into the world of spheres. You know, I can't think of a better exercise than sketching spheres as a warm-up. Why? Spheres are how I create three-dimensional round forms, which is basically what I consider the body to be made of. You know, the bust, the shoulders, the nose, chin, the rear end, and then anything that's not a sphere tends to be an ellipse, like the bicep, the calf, the heel. Okay, you're going to get a lot of mileage out of your ellipses. You can practice drawing them light, you can practice getting darker, and there's no need to draw the perfect crisp circle for any need. Just practice sketching them lightly, sketch them light, sketch them darker. And notice that there's sort of a leap of faith that happens when you do that, drawing with your whole arm. And notice how I'm holding my pencil. Okay, I get a lot more control when I hold my pencil this way, but it's none of that is quick movement. And this kind of movement is more, it's easier on your body. Draw with your arm. You can draw a quick, smooth, perfect line with your arm that you could never draw so smoothly and quickly with your wobbly little fingers. So you'll be able to draw faster, more fluidly, and more energetically than you ever imagined when you start drawing with your arm. Okay? You've got to give yourself the room to explore that. Okay, so here's, again, top of head, eye level, which really represents to me like the corners of my eyes, and then bottom of chin. Okay, halfway down is what represents the bottom of the nose to me. And I like to draw that in kind of dark because the bottom of the nose is always dark anyway because it falls in shadow. If you kind of imagine all light coming from above, you know, then it makes sense that there are shadows under the brow bone, shadows under the eyelid, shadows under the lip, under the chin, under the nose. These are all places where light from above doesn't hit. Okay, so it is going to be a dark area anyway, so drawing in a little shadow there never hurts. And then halfway between the bottom of the nose and the chin, I draw another line, and that for me represents the space between the lips. And depending on the model or the angle of her head, you know, I might move that line very slightly up or down based on what I really see. You can actually be so precise about it by just measuring with your fingers. Oh, bottom of nose to middle of mouth equals middle of mouth to chin. Oh, what do you know? I thought it was halfway down, but it's actually closer to the nose. You know, fine. Adjust accordingly. So I'm going to move this up a little bit to be more accurate. You know, I can actually take real measurements. Fantastic. So this is going to be the new center of my mouth. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so for nose, as far as the width of it goes, you could compare it to the width of your eyes, if that helps you. This nose really feels like it's just as wide as the eyes. Or I might compare it to the width of the mouth, or just feel it out. But I always feel it as 3D. I want it to be 3D. So I feel out the tip of the nose, and then there's these two subordinate spheres on the side. And depending on the model, the ethnicity, the personal, you know, there's a million variations. And that's what makes each model unique. So I just feel it out. This drawing the spheres really gives me a three-dimensional, I feel like I can touch it coming towards me. But when I feel like I've mapped it out properly, all I draw is what's black, which is usually nostrils. It's just trying to accurately get the shape I'm seeing. And like I said, when you've done it enough times, then you can really quite effortlessly create your own shapes, and you won't need even to look at a photo. But it's always fun to have a guide that you're looking at as inspiration. I don't like to get really busy with 3D effects of the nose. You might just want to smear a little bit to represent the shadow that you see on that 3D form, which, for example, I'm seeing a lot of it down one side here. But don't overdo it, and make sure you let the whitest place stay white. And that's one time I might use my eraser, only as to make a white highlight show up, not to erase lines. I really want you to build up your drawing out of a big mess. It's very important for your development to build your drawing up. Okay. The reason I'm drawing this little shadow here is because it's so pronounced in the photo. And actually there's a lot of shadow here. I use the side of my pencil to capture that. And I see a lot of shadow in the side of this side. Again, I'm using the side of my pencil to show it. And if you're having a hard time seeing shadows, 99% of the time just squinting helps me see them. The another thing is, though, that I'll often avoid using pictures that don't have shadows. And often it's those beauty photographs where the full-blown light on the face and you can see all the makeup, but there's actually no shadow being cast. Really try to find photos with shadows on them for all of your work while you're learning to draw, because light and dark is such a big part of your development. Seeing light and dark, and it will help you give 3D form to everything you draw, and it will also break things into shapes of light and dark. Okay. She's getting more and more real. It's funny because the face is emerging and the head is still so vague, right? Okay, so now we're going to get into the lips.